Well, good morning, everybody. DG here, long time no see. It's a beautiful Saturday autumn morning down by the river. I'm making my way into work, unfortunately, but I thought I'd take this opportunity for a little catch up as the hype's building for Football Manager 2026, just to talk a little bit about the channel, the future of the channel, and the general state of Football Manager content here on YouTube. So let's dive in. So first, a trip down memory lane. Have we got any of my OGs here from January 2018 when that first Football Manager video hit my channel? Gençler Birliği from Turkey, breaking the big three. Great days. I still fondly remember that save. And even though looking back at it now, I can see, a lot of cringeworthy things in my video production. It was a good place to start. You've got to start somewhere. The learning curve began there. But of course, Football Manager content has changed over the last several years, particularly in the last 2 to 3 years, I would say. Now, I know earlier in the year, a couple of months ago, Lelujo put out a video about the long-term save being dead. My good friend Grey Hair Gaming put a similar video out talking about, what does YouTube want? What does the algorithm push to people these days? And it seems, the 80, 100 episode journeyman save that runs pretty much the entire cycle of the game, that's dead. Those do not seem to be getting the views anymore. I noticed this during the FM24 cycle. I was going to say a few months ago, but of course the FM24 cycle's been 2 years long, so it may have been 18 months ago. But I started to notice, yes, of course, we've got the rebuild videos, the single episode where, you do your 5 seasons and you revitalize your club. Personally, that's not my type of content. But, I've seen those videos. They've done well for the guys who have done them, which is great. But yeah, that's something I just think not really my interest, not something I really have time to do. But what I've also noticed, perhaps a bigger change, was what would in the past have been that long-term save, that thing that ran for close to 100 episodes. Okay, sorry, had to do a cut there. Almost tripped over a squirrel, of all things. But yes, as I was saying, the one of the big changes I noticed was things that in the past would have been that ultra long-term save that would have run and run and run, a Pentagon challenge or a start and employed international journeyman. I've started to see those videos being done in 5 episodes. So we've got people, great creators like Tom FM, Omega Luke, they're doing a Pentagon challenge, but basically five videos, one for each of those Champions League trophies. Or they're doing something similar, a challenge like they're going out there and trying to win all of the Scandinavian leagues, or they're trying to win, just trying to find the best angle here, or some competition like that, a glory hunter. These are all being done in, a short series of videos that are released over the space of a week to 2 weeks. And that's something that someone like me, as a hobbyist creator, I think it's always important to remember that content creation for me is very much a hobby. I just, I can't do that. There's no way I can play through games, even holidaying and simming through parts of seasons. There's no way I can do things that quickly. I mentioned about I'm on my way into work. Yeah, I have a job where I work 6 days a week. There I go. Get a nice view of the river there. Yeah, 6 days a week. Within that 6 days a week, I have one day when I'm required to stay and do an evening shift. Sometimes on Saturdays, I will be busy in the afternoon as well. Luckily today, it's just a morning one. But, that leaves me with quite limited time to be playing a game. So that leaves me with a bit of a quandary when it comes to content creation. Like I said, recently, content creation has been slow, partly just fatigue from FM24 having been out for so long, but partly also just because the time hasn't always been there to produce the videos that I would want to. Now, this is where there's a quandary then. Time is precious in terms of the time I can devote to playing the game. And if you think about a YouTube Football Manager series, other games you would record, you would edit your video, post it, and then your next video would be wherever you left off in that game. Football Manager is not really like that. Nobody wants to watch, an episode where every 2 days you're dropping something and it's just like the next 2 games of your season or something like that. So you have to play through a couple of months of in-game time. You then have to get to a point where you're ready to record a video, edit it together, and that takes time. Sometimes it's a struggle to even just do one video a week, as I found a lot recently. So yes, that is a problem. Time management is a problem, and also the shift away from these series being popular, where you record a long-term save across multiple episodes. So I've been thinking, I think I've got basically 3 options as we move towards Football Manager 2026 for getting content going on my channel. Sorry, another cut there. Just got overtaken by somebody with an incredibly loud bicycle. So the first option is to buck the trend, to say, okay, YouTube maybe prefers this kind of intensive content where you're covering a lot of ground in a few episodes. I can't make that. There's no way I can compete with that. So just continue doing the long-term series with multiple episodes. If people watch it, great, accepting the fact that I'm never going to be a full-time content creator. The numbers are never going to reach that level, but be happy with the numbers we've got. Sorry, camera's getting a bit unstable here. Be happy with the numbers we've got. And, we just plow ahead, doing the content that we like, playing the kinds of saves we like, and focusing on that core community of viewers who are going to enjoy it. That's option 1. Option 2, streaming. Now, it might sound like a bit of a contradiction, having spoken about the lack of time for creating content. But I was thinking, if I take this approach which I've seen a couple of other guys do, I did it myself a few years ago when I was doing that international management journeyman save over on Twitch, is to do a stream and then be uploading highlights of that, editing it together onto YouTube. So maybe we drop an episode a week on YouTube, we stream a couple of nights a week, and then we use that stream footage to put together our YouTube videos, and then TikToks as well. We can get TikTok clips for that. So there's a lot of content that can be farmed from a stream in that sense. So although streaming would mean devoting a couple of blocks of 2 to 3 hours a week, it would be efficient in terms of then giving me more content to create. So streaming is an option. Let me know what you think about that. Of course, the third option would just be to not make any content at all, to just say, haven't got time, got to focus on the job, got to focus on the family, maybe just go back to being a hobbyist Football Manager player, something that I do in my free time, and just enjoy watching other people's content, which when I'm creating my own is something I don't often get time to do. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that long term. I think my preference would be option 1 or 2, but option 3 isn't something that we've ruled out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, if lots of you are going for option 3, I'll get the message and we'll move on. But yeah, option 1, just go ahead, keep doing what we've always been doing, build on those long-term series, as long as, of course, we can commit to getting out at least 1 video a week, hopefully 2. Or option 2, streaming, whether that's streaming here on YouTube or Twitch, get those streams out and then use those highlights to produce videos. And then we still get the odd one-off video, especially, or short-term challenges, especially as we get to next year's World Cup and things like that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm excited to get back on the road as far as content creation goes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and use my code for FM26 if you want to buy it. If you haven't pre-ordered yet, it's all down there in the comments. DG signing out. See you soon.